poet, oh, so acclaimed. But you know he owes it to the man who holds no fame. Structure under sweetie collapsed at the will of birds who see grace. They've motive just to spell. Up here I took flight. I'm reborn in the light. When other trails run cold, burning the light shine gold. So idolize me, but I'm just you. Can't you light up the idol? Oh, know my name, but only when survival of my Tobin is the same. Up here I took flight. I'm reborn in the light. When other trails run cold, burning the light shine gold. So idolize me, idolize me, oh, idolize me, oh. Electric booze. Sound of the music that provokes your fire. You shout and you scream, not gonna get any brighter. It's loud, feel the music, I feel your desire. I get it, it's electric. It's your youth, it's your truth. Do you choose to take one look at yourself? It's authentic. Whoa. I am and I stand here with intensity. It's authentic. Yeah, your youth, it's your truth. You take one look at yourself. You're electric. Yeah, here I stand, my electric. Thanks for coming.
Welcome back to the Sounds of Nashville Podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Tobin, and I'm here with Romano.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Thanks for coming on, man. Yeah. This is awesome. That was a great performance.
Thank you.
Super fun. Definitely first time someone has played keys on the podcast as the feature.
There you go. Yeah,
it's
that's
fun.
all I do. Yeah, but no, it was a great time. I mean, those guys are so tight as a band, and it's it's great to be able to just bring a composition and have it just like float, on top of their ability to just be like, oh yeah, yep, there's the song, there it is, yep.
Yeah.
But I write weird music too, so it works. But
so that kind of leads into my first question of what got you into writing the weird music.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, my biggest inspiration for a while was Elton John, and he inspired like every walk of my performance too. It wasn't just the compositions themselves, even though like the littlest things that he does, always make it into, my compositions themselves. Like he'll always go for the 4 in a chord, for instance. It'll either be a transition or just something he like throws in there. Something I do all the time too, And then there's, I mean, just everything about it, like the showmanship, he was my idol growing up for sure. And then the jackets themselves too. I got started with a tailor pretty early into my career to make my show outfits and everything. And, that was all like Elton John based type stuff. So, everything from that. And then, I played Electric Boots out there too, which is just a direct rewrite of Benny and the Jets. So, all that stuff, he played into everything a lot. So yeah, love that guy.
Awesome. So talking about idols.
Yeah.
Idol.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's a lot to say about that one. That was my final project before I left Michigan. It was both, a concept album and a handful of music videos as well. And, just a run of, probably the best like era I've had, musically, if you will. I started, that whole album really started with, the, best track on their Thermal that, got a bit of traction. I was really happy with, when I put it out and did a music video with it that my dad was in, which is really cool. Pulled him up on stage, and the whole song is about, just like a kind of a second person conversation, of, like pulling somebody out of the crowd and literally writing about live music, which is something that, kind of inspired the way that I will create music now, is that, I find it hard to write a song that isn't actually like directly about live music in some regard. I'm writing about those experiences I've had on stage my whole life. So, yeah.
In Nashville, you are a producer, you're in the band Dream Fever, and you're a guitar player in various other projects.
Yeah.
How's that influenced your writing?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I've gotten to know a bit more of what the standard is, or, the standard, like, how people compose a song and how these things come to be around here. Cause there's, a bit more of that slightly commercial approach to things around here, just cause this is where the music commercialization happens. Right. And so I've, been able to start writing with other people around here. Billy, and we started, he was like one of the first people I met down here. We started writing music together pretty early on, in my Nashville, journey so far. And I mean, a lot of people that, you start to learn how other people approach these things. And, just being able to bring my, between the keys on bottom and the guitar, I'm, usually playing along with it. That stuff is, I've gained such a broader understanding for how music comes to be, rather than like, Idol, for instance, was all a solo project. Like, I'm happy to say I did most of the roles in that. I worked with my buddy Christian back in Michigan to engineer the thing, but all the lyrics, then all the instruments themselves, and all the story overarching the whole thing about this, this story of a showman, essentially, that really just, the whole album is a conversation between, myself and this idyllic, deity type character, literally just called the Idol. So all of those things have come full circle, because I now feel like I can reapproach, the way that I write my own music after learning, how people around here do it so often. And, bring that multifacetedness to the way that people are creating things now. And it's, it's more intricate now, the things I'm doing, and it's more, detailed. And I feel like I've, gained a brighter understanding of, just how these things come to be around here.
Yeah. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, the Sounds of Nashville podcast is edited by Ryan.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to cut to me just like editing a bunch of, hey, Ryan, can you cut this out? Yep, me in the studio. That'd be great. But yeah, it's cool to be on this side of the camera this time too,
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm glad to have you on this side of the
camera.
Right? So, it's good.
Yeah.
Very happy with all the work that you've done to put together this great content for these artists.
This has been awesome. I mean, you're doing an awesome thing putting these, together to spotlight, what people really care. And then especially with the Blue House Band working, to bring the musical ideas to life too. Like that last song I played, Dead Horse, that was not a fully formed idea, but they really just completed it for me. I'd had the melody and I had the, and so to be able to bring those musical ideas here, and then furthermore, to be able to talk about the context behind them with you afterwards too. It's such a cool format of, ways to, get music out there now. It's a very contemporary approach to it. So we're doing good.
Thanks. Well, it's an exciting project because, I want to get Nashville musicians together, because the closer that we're working on, from this, where we give the band a demo and then they chart out the song and then we play it.
Yeah.
And it adds so much when you get to hear it as a full band on the spot, where, wow, I'm kind of getting bombarded with, oh, cool, this is new and this is new. So it's a powerful experience the first time I got into the studio with the Blue House Band. And I'm like, well, I want to bring this to everybody now.
Absolutely.
Because it's so fun from a writing standpoint and performing standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, to not have to have the idea fully formed, because like we were talking about, I feel now like I want to, bring other people in on my half-formed ideas, around here, just because, around Nashville, you can trust these musicians to do the right things with your, ideas that you have such an attachment to. But, guys like the Blue House Band, or really anyone that you can, find as co-writers, or, people that share your vision, for instance, around Nashville, like these people, are so cool to have as like, be able to bounce ideas back and forth between. And sometimes you're that guy too. Sometimes someone else has a really good idea and you got to let that guy, let him cook. You got to let that guy go.
Let him cook.
You got to let that guy go. And you just support, the idea that's flowing out of that guy. And I think that's awesome. Like getting down here, I told myself that Idol was going to be, that was a really cool project. I had seen fully formed, and it was like, I put it out right before I moved here. And then I was like, I'm not going to put anything out. I'm not going to rush into another project yet, because I want to work on it with the rest of Nashville. I know there's people around here that want to do these things, and so now Dream Fever has been the new like original project, and working with those two other guys for Basil and Billy to put together some of the weirdest ideas. But it's an outlet for some of the most intricate ideas I could have, and they come to fruition as a trio like that. It's cool. It's
great.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite song lyric that you've written?
Ooh, okay. I would have to go with the one that influences the most of the music to follow it. I mentioned Thermal earlier. The first lyric in that song, I sat down, I wrote that song in 47 minutes because I was going to perform it the next day at a festival. And the first lyric that came to my mind in that song, I kind of touched on this earlier. It was a second person lyric, the perspective of it, where I'm not singing about something, I'm not singing as something, I'm singing to the listener. You're not feeling bright, I can tell. And that album, or that lyric appeared, a bunch of other times on that same album, Idle Idle, because that lyric in particular was so influential to the way that I approached music writing or composition after writing that lyric. Just because I realized that once I'm singing directly to the audience rather than having a bit of that wall there that could exist otherwise. I'm singing right to these people that, can appreciate the song that much more, because I might be singing about their situation that they're in. Another song, Electric Boots, is similar to that too, because I'm singing about the audience. I'm singing about the experience they're having, and how they're appreciating the live music like that. So that would be totally my favorite lyric that I've written, because it's just influenced so much more. And that actually, I've got a sticker of this on my guitar. That was influenced by a lyric from Styx, my favorite band. You see the world through your cynical eyes. And that's another lyric in second person that totally, that's from The Grand Illusion. I love that album so much. And that, from there, they were doing the same thing. They were singing right to the audience. They weren't singing about them, not singing about something fictitious. No, it's the most direct connection you could have with your audience, singing right to them. So, that's been my, my favorite thing, just because it's influenced everything that follows it. So it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. Now, anything that you want to tell the audience, anything you have to promote, any advice to people getting into the Nashville scene, anything like that?
I mean, I guess the other thing I haven't touched on so much is that, my new day-to-day endeavor around here has been the production stuff and building my studio out. And I've been really blessed recently to have some really cool original projects come through there of other people's that, like I was talking about, you just got to be there to support, So I went to school for audio engineering, and that was half my goal moving down here was to build out a place where I could work with the active music scene. There's a lot going on in Detroit, but a lot of what's downtown Detroit for the music scene, there's a lot of history there, and it's a lot about what was, and a lot of like here's everything Motown was 40 years ago, and I want to be where it's at now. So now I'm here. Now I've got my place, RyAudio, just north of town, and it's been terrific to, my buddy Leo came through there recently. He had an awesome hard rock project that I was able to, produce for him. And, to be able to have everything recorded in that one space, it's awesome, and it sounded great. Just finished those masters recently. So, so I guess that would be the one other point to make, is that my studio's open, and I'd love to have you by here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody check out RyAudio Nashville.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on today. This is awesome, man.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks.